Hare Krishna. We have with us His Grace Advaitachandra Prabhu and Her Grace Kalasudha mataji from Houston. We are so much honored to have them with us today. I would also like to inform that Prabhuji and Mataji are the official coaches, the guides for Bhakti-vriksha preaching of the Congregational Development Ministry. So if anyone wants to take this benefit, they can definitely contact Prabhuji and Mataji. So let us find out from them what is the magic with which they have created so many devotees in Houston. First of all, we would ask about their material qualification and what have they been doing in the material life. Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Mataji, welcome.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, my name is Advaitachandra Das and I have completed my mechanical engineering and then a postgraduate in software technology. And currently I'm working in an oil and gas company as a software solution architect and in Houston, Texas. And that's what I'm doing materially today.
And you, Mataji?
I'm a homemaker.
Oh, that's more important sometimes. Alright, so let's get into the Bhakti-vriksha questions. How long have you been associated with Bhakti-vriksha?
Well, I was introduced to the Bhakti-vriksha system in the year 2000 when I had moved to Bangalore for my work. So it's been about 15 years now.
And you, Mataji?
Well, I was in the Middle East with my parents, His Grace Bhaktajana Priya Prabhu and Her Grace Manorakshi Mataji. And our Krishna conscious life there started in 1992. And the Bhakti-vriksha system was evolved there in the Middle East. And we were there in the beginning stages, so from the year 95-96 we've been involved with it from the very beginning of its conception, actually.
Oh, so you are a little bit senior to Prabhuji
Yes.
in terms of Bhakti-vriksha. Well, how long have you been involved in developing your group in the community?
Well, we first helped in Bangalore and then we moved to San Jose. So for about 9 to 10 months we were in San Jose and we started a few Bhakti-vriksha groups there. Then my work took me to Houston, and so both of us have been in Houston since 2002. And so yeah, since 13 years we've been developing the groups in our community.
Can you describe how the relationships are between the devotees in your group?
Well, you see, the members, they are very impressionable. And what we found is that if the leaders in the community, if they have a cordial relationship, that naturally trickles down to the members. So that's how we have seen in Houston that because the leaders in the community have a very sweet, loving relationship, so therefore the members automatically develop that tendency and they have a very cordial relationship amongst themselves. Of course, there is definitely room for improvement all the time, but we have found that predominantly it's very, the mood is of love and trust.
What is the secret of the development of harmony within the members?
I think as we discussed, it is the secret is the members being very impressionable. They take from the leaders. So if the servant leaders have good relationships, then the members automatically take that mood. We've had some people comment, some of the new members, especially in our Western Bhakti-vriksha groups, that sometimes they say, we don't understand the philosophy in the beginning, but we like the mood in the group. We like the loving atmosphere that everyone has, we like the vibrations, and so we love to come again and again. And eventually, when they come again and again due to association, they pick up philosophy and they are now servant leaders themselves. So I think that is one of the secret sauce. Is whatever the circle servants, however the relationship is, that's what the servant leaders will have. That's what the members will have, and in general, the mood of love and trust is very important, because Prabhupada actually said this movement is based on love and trust. It's the oil that moves the whole system. And initially I heard that when the groups were formed, these Bhakti-vriksha groups were formed, they were called as love and trust groups. And then of course eventually the terminology Bhakti-vriksha came, and like that. So yeah, love and trust is very important. We can love some people but not trust them. For example, our teenage kids, we may love them but may not trust them with the car keys. Or we can trust some people but may not love them. We trust our bankers, our bank managers with our money, but do we really love them? So having love and trust both amongst the devotees is not very easy in this age of Kali Yuga, but that is what drives, that's the secret sauce, the recipe.
So you mean to say that in Bhakti-vriksha, the love and the trust both are equally and say prominently developed in the groups?
Yes, that's the whole idea. The whole Bhakti-vriksha system is based on this love and trust. If you have all the elements of Bhakti-vriksha but not love and trust, then it doesn't make any sense. I was hearing one example in one of the Bhagavatam classes that Prabhupada said it's like a flower without fragrance. So if we have all the elements of love and of Bhakti-vriksha but don't have love and trust amongst the members, it's like a flower without fragrance. It just doesn't make sense.
You have very wonderfully explained this point, but I would like to diversify a bit and ask you another question pertaining to the same. If we consider the other way around, then what? If there is love and trust but no Bhakti-vriksha, what is your opinion then?
That's a good question.
Well, if there is love and trust and no Bhakti-vriksha, see, Bhakti-vriksha is actually like it's a way of doing things. It's not that it's just related to home programs. We can manage the temple in the Bhakti-vriksha way. We can do book distribution in the Bhakti-vriksha way. Because what Bhakti-vriksha really is that it's basically training and empowering. So what Srila Prabhupada did in the initial days of our movement, the way Srila Prabhupada established our society, is the Bhakti-vriksha way. What he did also is that he trained and he gave empowerment. Devotees in the movement at that time were just, less than 6-7 months in Krishna consciousness, and Prabhupada was giving them responsibility, empowerment to go and start, this movement in San Francisco, in Canada, in Toronto, and then in London, and the rest is history all over the world. That's how Srila Prabhupada spread in the initial days, which is following the principle of the same Bhakti-vriksha. So Bhakti-vriksha is actually like it's a way of doing things. So if there is love and trust and no Bhakti-vriksha, then it's a very good scenario, in the sense that it is, it's a soil very suitable. The soil is very properly taken care of, so that when the seeds are sown, it will grow very nicely. It will fructify into very beautiful plants. So if there is love and trust, then Bhakti-vriksha will really blossom that way. Because one thing that we've experienced in all of our years of preaching is that philosophy forms 10% of the response or the preaching of the members. The first thing is to establish a friendly relationship with them. Once we have a friendly rapport with a new person, then they automatically will listen to whatever we have to say. But if the person is very impressed with our philosophy, we really, speak very fluent verses in Sanskrit, and we give excellent classes and, very good like that. But then if we are not good with them, we can't relate to them on a personal level, they'll not be interested to come back. But they might not agree with our philosophy, but if they like us as people, they will want to come back.
I think you have made a very, very important point here, Mataji. I really appreciate that. I'll come to my question later on. I think Prabhuji wants to say something.
So, I would say love and trust, but no Bhakti-vriksha principles, is something like if someone comes to our home, we give them a glass of water. One way of giving them water is just give them the whole hose pipe, and they'll just drink it. Another extreme is just give them an empty glass, right? So the glass is Bhakti-vriksha principle, but the real content is love and trust. So you could give love and trust without the glass. It's like giving them a hose pipe, and they'll just be. So we need to have both. The framework, the vessel, which is the Bhakti-vriksha framework, within which we serve love and trust.
So can we say it's like love and trust, philosophy, and Bhakti-vriksha all together makes it complete? Would you say that?
Yes.
Yes, and I would also say that, as Kalasudha said, love and trust is a part of Bhakti-vriksha, as we say. But yes, when you say the principles and the framework of Bhakti-vriksha, yes, that is what you just mentioned.
What has been your contribution in developing your group in the community?
Well, when we came to Houston, I was on a temporary basis. I was supposed to be there, and we were thinking we just need to engage ourselves in some preaching service, and we didn't have a big plan that we would implement all of these things, but we just wanted to engage ourselves, and whoever we could reach out, we could. So on Sundays we started following up with some people. There was a small group, and then my stay period increased, and we wanted to form the group in such a way that it is in connection with the existing temple, and then eventually from one group it grew into 2 groups, and then from 2 it grew into 5 groups. And whenever these multiplications were happening, we always made sure that the root of this Bhakti-vriksha tree which is growing, the root is always the temple. In that sense, they were nourished by association from senior devotees, by services at the temple, and of course the environment that they would get in Bhakti-vriksha would nurture them more and more. So slowly the temple realized that there are a lot of new people coming from Bhakti-vriksha. They are eager for service, and so the temple also became more and more open to Bhakti-vriksha. And of course, the way we implemented Bhakti-vriksha, we were always wanted to connect it with the temple. So I would say that would be one of our contributions, is the mood of the Bhakti-vriksha in Houston is more a collaborative mood with the temple. It's a part of the temple initiative.
I think what you have just said is one of the most important aspects, and which usually sometimes the temples are a bit reluctant to take up Bhakti-vriksha or participate in it or support Bhakti-vriksha systems. But what you have just said is one of the most fundamental aspects of Bhakti-vriksha, and you have practically proven, and your contribution is amazing, that you have been the connecting link between the temple and the congregation. So that's amazing. So, my next question is, what do you consider are the special achievements of your group on account of Bhakti-vriksha preaching in the community as compared to other preaching methods?
That's a very interesting question. And in our experience, we found that, Bhakti-vriksha system in itself is so welcoming to new people. When a new person comes into Krishna consciousness, they are not so much in the hearing, not so receptive to hear, because they've got so many things that are buried under themselves, and they need to vent things out. And Bhakti-vriksha is such a forum where they can really come and express themselves and not be judged in that atmosphere too, where they're allowed to speak, and what they speak is taken with value. They are respected in that way, and as opposed to any other program where they go to, say for example, a lecture program, and he hears from the speaker saying that we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. For the new person's point of view, that message has to go through several layers till it can really make effect, till he can really accept that fact, because he has to first trust the speaker to be able to accept it. It has to go through emotional, intellectual, so many barriers it has to go through. But in a Bhakti-vriksha program, that new person, he is reading that I am the soul, I am not this body. And the questions under discovery, understanding, application, it is guided towards that aspect. And when he repeats it himself, saying that I am not this body, I am the spirit soul, the understanding sinks in much more. He is convinced himself, and only then he can speak. So the grasping power of the people, or the advancement of the person in Krishna consciousness, is much more rapid in a Bhakti-vriksha program as opposed to a lecture program. Because in the beginning, a person, as I said, that they want to vent out so many of their questions, doubts, and sometimes people have so many concepts, especially Indians or even Westerners alike. They have so many concepts, about spirituality in general, and it's not that they're married to those aspects. Like, some people may be having some Mayavadi philosophies. They are not married to those principles, but they've grown up with those thoughts, So when they hear some other kind of spiritual thoughts, they also want to express. But if they can hear something which is proper and bona fide, and where it can be interactive, then their understanding is much more concrete. It gives them a much more concrete kind of a foundation. So in our experience, we have found that the interaction really helps a new soul develop more faster in their journey towards Krishna. That's been our experience.
Also, the Bhakti-vriksha is, the purpose is to create leaders. And we see that when people come through these such interactive programs, facilitated discussion-oriented programs, in the first year they get all their doubts cleared and get it out of their system, and then they become the best hearers of the lectures, because ultimately the goal is hearing and chanting, and they become very submissive in hearing. But when they have come initially, they need that interaction, and then because of its interactive style, the purpose is to make new leaders. So in Bhakti-vriksha program especially, we get a new person, and then within a few months or a year or so, they become leaders in terms of sharing their Krishna consciousness with others, which sometimes we don't see in other programs with as much frequency as in Bhakti-vriksha.
Amazing. You have very well described the whole process. Well, so my next question is, what is the mood of leadership in Bhakti-vriksha?
Well, as we say, in the Bhakti-vriksha model itself, they are called servant leaders. So the mood of leadership is described in the word itself, They are leaders, but they lead, their service is to lead. It's not that others are followers or they are the masters, but actually the more group members you have, you are servant of more number of people. That's the whole idea. And if you multiply multiple groups, that much more service you get. You are servants of that many more people. So it's a mood of servant leadership. It's a responsibility, not a privilege, not something that they tend to enjoy. Of course, those who come to the level of servant leaders in Bhakti-vriksha may sometimes they become leaders quite fast. So they may not be the servant leader at the servant leader level. They may not be very mature in their devotional service or in their bhakti or in their devotional career as such. But they understand that this is their responsibility to set an example, and they always follow the guidance of the hierarchy, the higher authorities of the circle servants or the sector servants and the Bhakti-vriksha directors and things like that. And so the principle is each one teach one while being taught by one.
And also it's in the same line as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. He says, Dasa Dasa Dasanudas. So that is the mood of the Bhakti-vriksha servant leader, that they are servant of the servant of the servant of the devotees.
Unlike the other systems, boss, bossanu, boss. So, describe the relationship between the servant leaders and the devotees, and also between different servant leaders themselves within your groups.
Well, within our groups, what we have done to facilitate loving relationships, cordial relationships amongst the servant leaders themselves, is that once in 3 months, we do a little outing, like a little picnic, spiritual picnic, where we take our Gaurnitai deities and we just go out and, go out into the open, into the wilderness, either to a lakeside or, park or somewhere. And there we, with Gaurnitai deities in the center, we just have a nice spiritual gathering just with the leaders. So that, leaders can come and express with the program directors. The Bhakti-vriksha program director is part of such an outing. And they can also build relationship amongst themselves. They can share the pros and cons in their groups that's been happening, and anywhere that they feel that they need help. Of course, it happens definitely on a week-to-week basis also, but this is the entire system coming together every 3 months, and we found this to be very, very effective because it builds the relationship amongst the servant leaders, and which will naturally trickle down to the members, as we have said before. So this is what we do in Houston.
And then once a year we have what we call Festival of Love and Trust, where all the Bhakti-vriksha groups, like we have 14 Bhakti-vrikshas now, and all of them would come together along with the temple devotees, those who are, who may not be part of the Bhakti-vriksha, but are, congregation members and senior devotees and things like that, in order to facilitate exchanges between the group members with other group members and all the group members with devotees at the temple. We have this festival of love and trust, and in that we have seating arrangements in such a way, we assign seats to everyone on a round table, where we mix and match different group members and senior devotees. So they by design they are sitting and interacting in their tables during prashadam or during different things. And so we have dramas, different groups present what they learned in their Bhakti-vriksha group. They give some reports if there are some new things that are happening. There is drama, there is quiz competition online between different, amongst different group members. And also, of course, it's a 3-hour program. And all the devotees look forward to it. They start preparing for each of these things from a long time. Initially we were doing it, organizing the whole thing. Now there are other devotees who are coming up, they are organizing, and we are kind of mentoring them into doing those things. So this Festival of Love and Trust, the yearly program, also helps a lot for the individual group member to understand that I'm not just part of this group in my area, 15 members, but actually this group, I'm a part of the bigger Houston Yatra, which is a part of an international organization. And that way they get to know, they get more exposure and build relationships at different levels.
And during this festival, we also have the children of the different Bhakti-vriksha groups come together, and they either perform like a Vedic fashion show, or the youth, they come across and they do like a Vedic walk. Like how they do in Karmi world, how they do fashion walks and things like that. So they do the Vedic walk, in devotional attire. So it's more appealing to the youth in that way. And so different things. So we have involvement in Bhakti-vriksha. It's an entire family package program where children and youth are very much a part of the program, and they also have individual programs that go on simultaneously, so they are given an opportunity to present what they have learned in this Festival of Love and Trust too.
Amazing, your ideas are really amazing. So my next question is, how do you think we can convince others to take up Bhakti-vriksha preaching?
So to convince others, I think the best way is to set proper examples. And if we have proper examples of Bhakti-vriksha communities which are growing, which are expanding, which are bringing and introducing more people to Krishna consciousness, and on an institutional level are helping ISKCON temples, the existing congregations or existing ISKCON temples, in growing and expanding in a collaborative way, then it will go a very long way in making people more open and accepting about Bhakti-vriksha. And so I think this is one major thing, to set an example. When we first went to Houston also, our idea was we just want to engage ourselves in preaching and just set an example of a small group and request the temple that we would like to expand these groups, and they will be in connection to the temple. And the temple authorities were very open when they saw the success of the first two Bhakti-vrikshas, that the Bhakti-vrikshas are helping in the volunteer services and helping the temple financially also. So they were naturally more open, and so then they also helped in expanding the Bhakti-vrikshas. Now we have several members who were introduced through Bhakti-vriksha system. Now they are at different management posts at the temple. They are doing book distribution services. They are directors of outreach or assistant directors of outreach. They are helping the education department. They are teachers in the Bhakti Shastri and courses and things like that. And in different places in the management and festival management and all these things. So all of these people have their roots by being introduced through Bhakti-vriksha. So I think we do have several examples of such Bhakti-vriksha communities helping the ISKCON as an institution in terms of the temples. If we highlight that more, and then I guess temples would be more open to remove the us and them feeling, in terms of we are the temple, they are the congregation. Bhakti-vriksha helps in understanding we are all a part of the temple. And I think more success stories like that would help a lot.
And also I feel that the result speaks for itself, phalena parichayate, that when people see results, when devotees see results, that Bhakti-vriksha is generating such sincere seekers of spirituality, they naturally get inspired. Especially in Houston, we have witnessed this, that how the temple became so enlivened by seeing the kind of production, so to speak, that Bhakti-vriksha is giving, in terms of volunteer services, in terms of even financial donations and everything, and now the way the Bhakti-vriksha programs are advertised in our Sunday Feast program is that on Sundays, devotees come from different parts of the city, they come to the temple, and on weekdays, the temple comes to their locality in the form of the Bhakti-vriksha groups. So this is how the collaboration works, and that is a success story in itself, that how Bhakti-vriksha is now part of a temple activity. It's part of the temple, it's connected, its roots is at the temple.
Amazingly described. So we can conclude maybe from your talks that without Bhakti-vriksha, the temple may not be able to progress so well as it is doing now. That could be the conclusion.
Yes, and also that maybe it would have, but maybe time would have been the issue. Mahaprabhu's prediction is there that, Prithivite ache joto nagaradi gram, sarvatra prachar hoibe morna. Mahaprabhu has predicted this. It's just time that is separating it, that everybody will be chanting Hare Krishna one day. But Bhakti-vriksha system is such a beautiful system that it is going to help it's like a catalyst. It will help in making Mahaprabhu's prediction in a much more faster way. So the congregations can multiply in very, very short period of time if they follow the Bhakti-vriksha system.
I like your statement, especially the one where you said Bhakti-vriksha system is such a system that the devotees, the Bhakti-vriksha goes to the temple, and in the weekdays the temple goes to the devotees in form of Bhakti-vriksha. That's a wonderful statement that you have made. So let's move forward. My next question to you is Bhakti-vriksha an idea of a particular group, or is it in compliance with the methodology designed by our past acharyas?
The Bhakti-vriksha system was originally established and introduced by Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and in the form of Namahatta, and then it was revived again by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the early 19th century, 18th century, and of course, as we described, our very own Srila Prabhupada used the similar model, the principles of Bhakti-vriksha. Of course, he didn't call it as Bhakti-vriksha, but the principle of training and expansion. In the early days of our movement, he would train a few devotees, and then they were not even 1 year in Krishna consciousness sometimes, and he would inspire them to go and start another center, and then there they would train some devotees, he would establish it again, establish somewhere else. So we see that our Guru Vargas, they are all naturally leaders because of Srila Prabhupada's training, and of training and expansion. So I think this system is following the parampara system. This is following from our previous acharyas, and that is the strength of the Bhakti-vriksha system.
So how long does it take for a member to start chanting Mahamantra after joining a Bhakti-vriksha group?
Well, you see, the program format, the format of the program of the Bhakti-vriksha program is such that from day one, actually the member is inspired to chant Hare Krishna, because it is part of the program itself. The chanting is the fourth part of the Bhakti-vriksha program, and so from day one they actually start chanting Hare Krishna in the program itself, and for them to start practicing it in their own lives, our experience has been anywhere from within 2 to 3 weeks, because especially in the Western group, what we do is instead of doing one round of japa, Because in the beginning, for doing one round of japa may be very difficult for Westerners, especially with the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It may be too long and too confusing for them. So we do it in the form of a very nice guided meditation. And they are so inspired with it because they feel so satisfied with that meditation that they want to take up the chanting right after that. They buy the mala and they want to do the same kind of meditation. They want to relive that experience over and over again. So this has been our experience that within 2 to 3 weeks, they take up to regular chanting, at least minimum one round. Every member in the group do take up chanting in that way.
I have attended your seminar the other day, and I saw the practical demonstration of the way you do the chanting, say introduce the chanting. I request you, please do that here so that everyone can benefit from that.
Okay, the guided meditation, actually it's an inspiration from His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj, that I give them an out-of-body experience actually, where I take them on a journey which is out into the wilderness. I describe how the morning hours is and how the cool breeze is filling, inside, going inside and just refreshing them. And so I give them that experience, they literally experience it. And then while chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, so I say, Hare Krishna, Rama. And then I explain to them that these are the 3 words, the 3 words that are used in the Mahamantra, and what each of them mean, what Hare means. Especially for a Western mind, we don't use devotional lingo, so to speak, but we explain it in very modernistic lingo and very much yoga lingo, so to speak, and so that it is easily relatable for them, and explain what Hare means, what Krishna means, what Rama means, that Rama is the reservoir of all pleasure, he is the joy of giving and sharing. And then I explain, then I chant 2 syllables at the same time, like Hare Krishna, then they chant. So then they do the entire mantra in this way. So they repeat, then 4 words at the same time, then 6 words at the same time, then 8 words, and then 16 words. So that way they get accustomed with the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then when they are chanting also, what I do is that we start the journey in the early morning hours, and then they come and I bring them into a green pasturous land where the sun is rising on the eastern horizon, and then I give them the vision of a nice waterfall on the western side, and then we go towards the waterfall, sit down on the sandy beach, and then we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times together. And just 3 times we chant it together, and I give them the entire experience of how the birds are chirping, then the waterfalls gushing down. So they hear all those music, and of course it is this whole meditation is accompanied with a background music, some meditational music. So it's a very, very soothing atmosphere. And then at that time I tell them how important it is to hear the Mahamantra very attentively. That the potency of the Mahamantra is to speak each syllable clearly and to listen very attentively, because when the mantra enters our ear and reaches our heart, that's where the transformation takes place. That it transforms all our negative emotions into pure positive spiritual emotions. It transforms our lust into love, our greed into generosity, our anger into compassion. So in this way they can relate to the Mahamantra and easily practice it in their own lives, because they know now what is the benefit of doing the Mahamantra. So this is level 1, we do it, and we also do guided meditation for level 2 and level 3. In level 2, I make them listen to Krishna's flute. That how Krishna is revealing that when we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we can actually listen to the sound of Krishna's flute. So we get that music in their ear and they experience that. And 3rd level, I actually make them see the spiritual world. that they see the spiritual world and Krishna is there and Radharani is there, Srimati Radharani, they are waiting for the conditioned soul and, waiting to embrace them and, crying tears of ecstasy and saying what took them so long to come to the spiritual world. So these experiences give them such a value for chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They get really attached to the holy names, and when they do it in that way, the progress is so much more faster, and their attachment to the holy name is really inseparable at that time. So from the very beginning, this attachment to the holy name is there in the Bhakti-vriksha groups that we have inculcated in the programs in this way.
This was extraordinary, and I have never experienced so much in-depth practice of Mahamantra. This was definitely a lesson for me as well as everyone, I'm sure. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Later on, adding on to the Mahamantra to increase the devotees' faith in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one other thing that Prabhu and myself we do is that through the singing of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in a very, very meditative tune with, good harmonium and everything, we chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So Prabhu chants it one time, then everybody follows. Now this happens maybe 1 or 2 months down the line for a new program. This is for increasing the attachment to the holy names. So, and we found it so helpful, so I just wanted to share that so he leads it, Prabhu leads it one time, then everybody follows. I lead the second time, and then everybody follows. And then I explain the meaning of Hare. And then I lead one more time and everybody follows. Then Prabhu explains the meaning of Krishna. And then, so everyone is in a very meditative mood. So musical instruments are going on while we are speaking too. And then he leads the mantra again, everybody follows. Then I explain the meaning of Rama. Then, sing again, everybody follows. So this way also, through the musical meditation also, we found that devotees really get into the core, and their attachment to the holy names really improve a lot. And once every 4 months, what we do is that during the Namamrita session, we have an extended, instead of doing the entire Bhakti-vriksha program that day, what we do is that we have like a japa workshop night, where we say that for 2 hours we are doing the japa workshop. So would you like to explain that and talk about that?
Okay. So in the japa workshop, every other month we try to do it, and we have all the devotees come in, we chant one round of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra together, and then we stop, and then we ask the devotees, what were the challenges that you faced when you were chanting, or what are the challenges you generally face? So everyone says that, and we discuss the solutions to those challenges, and then we give some tips on how you can improve your japa. We say, you should have Tulsi Maharani in between, try to chant the association of devotees. Then we tell them, okay, try to chant by thinking that Lord Chaitanya is sitting right next to you and is trying to hear your holy names. And he's expanding himself and sitting next to each of you. And now you do another round. So now they do another round, then we share what your experiences were, and then we give some more tips on how they could improve their chanting. Then do another round implementing those tips by focusing on the meaning of the holy names. Try to pray to Hare, Srimati Radharani, try to pray to Krishna, pray to Rama. And then they chant one round, then we explain to them how they could increase the frequency of their chanting and things like that. So different practical aspects come out, because that whole session is based on the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, on improving our japa. So Bhakti-vriksha doesn't just become some place where people come, socialize, have some discussion and go home, but the senior members of the group dive deep into the Mahamantra and develop attachment to the holy names, not just by saying you should do this, you should chant, we should chant, we should chant, get up in the morning and chant, but give them an experience right there which will inspire them. I want to relive that experience that I had. Let me get up in the morning. And then we once a month we also have a Mangal Arti in each devotee's homes. So that way they also get an experience of the Mangal Arti, chanting in the morning hours. So we found that more effective than actually preaching about chanting the holy names. If you give them the experience, they would automatically be hooked onto it.
Amazing, amazing. I really don't want to go ahead. I feel like going on and on and on with your wonderful explanations. But because we have the time limitation, I will humbly go to the next question. So, how fast do the members adapt to our culture while undergoing Bhakti-vriksha training?
Well, everyone takes their own time in taking up to the Krishna conscious culture. We cannot really force, but we do try to give them an experience of course, chanting the holy names, of how to offer bhoga, how to wear tilak, why to wear tilak, why to offer bhoga beyond vegetarianism and things like that. And we try to give them this training of practical Krishna consciousness based on their level of Krishna consciousness. So in a group where there is a mix of new members and senior members, we cannot give a lecture or a demonstration of the Vaishnava etiquette, because sometimes, at least in the West, some people tend to think that laying down on the ground and offering obeisances is kind of cultish and things like that. So we cannot give that demonstration in a new group. But slowly, when the group advances, we select the members of the group who are at a particular level, maybe chanting 4 rounds or 8 rounds from each group, and then we take them on a separate venue and give that demonstration. We call it as Bhakti 101. So we have Bhakti 101 courses going all year round, where there are 1 or 2 weeks courses like that, and people who are qualified, who have the prerequisite for attending these courses, they attend that, and there we explain the Vaishnava etiquettes, details of our culture, why we do what we do, when you come to the temple, how to deal with the devotees, how to offer bhoga, tilak, dhoti kurta also is a part of our tradition and culture, and we give them that training, but then it's up to them how much they take up to it. We have seen that if we give them a lot of love and care, then they want to automatically do what we do. So if we are wearing dhoti kurta and tilak and we are emanating love, they want to also wear dhoti kurta and tilak. And sometimes some people don't want to, but as long as they are chanting Hare Krishna, following the regulative principles, that's what matters.
And what we found is that it's something very natural. These things come very naturally. It's not like an imposition, that they are accepting this culture, or as Prabhu explained, that it's not something they do out of force or out of compulsion, but they naturally want to do it because their friends at the temple are doing it. That's the bottom line, because they have developed such close bond with the devotees, and they want to also move and feel like the devotees, and therefore they want to also accept what the devotees are accepting already. So it becomes very natural, rather than just saying, oh, you need to wear Vaishnava tilak, you need to wear dhoti kurta or saris, but rather it just becomes, it's fun to do this. I want to do this because it's really nice, and it'll really look so nice, opulent, and because my friends at the temple are doing it, I want to do it, that's why. So, then it becomes very natural and not, impositioned on them. Like
of course, they understand the philosophical basis of why it should be done also, so they have the spiritual strength to do it.
So please explain how much beneficial is Bhakti-vriksha to the newly joined devotees?
Well, for newly joined devotees, we have seen that they become very, their heart opens up very quickly to learning Krishna conscious principles through the Bhakti-vriksha system. And we have had feedback from them that they find friends for life and beyond. And this, in the Western world, it's a little, no one becomes friend very openly or very quickly, because there everyone is trying to exploit each other. And when they come to the Bhakti-vriksha group gatherings, they find friends who don't want anything from them. They just want to reciprocate love. And in fact, they don't have to pay anything, it's free, and they are being served food, which is of a very high quality at the same time. And so they feel the exchange of love in that group, which is without any motivation, which is completely selfless. And that is what they find very attractive. And as we said, these are love and trust groups, and this gives them a platform to express their spirituality. Other feedback that we have got is many of the Westerners have said, we never find any discussion based on spiritual topics. All the discussions that we go to are either for their career related things, or they have discussions based on their school, based on their work and things like that. But never had they had discussion about spiritual topics, which they want to know more about and know what others think. But the materialistic society in general doesn't encourage these kind of questions, or may make mockery or fun of it. This is the only platform that they get to express their spirituality, whatever it may be, and learn from others. And so that way they are very open-minded and free.
And one more thing I would like to add also is that one of the members from the non-Indian Bhakti-vriksha group has personally expressed to me, it's more than one, but one in specific that I would like to talk about, is that she told me that she doesn't even have the kind of relationship that she has with us. She doesn't have that relationship with her own family, because her own family doesn't encourage her to open up. She's not allowed to, express her views. She's not allowed, and she's a very, very spiritual-minded person, but her family doesn't really support that kind of thing, and she really feels that Krishna consciousness is able to bring out the best in her. So this is also another thing that we've experienced, that many of the Western audience, who have been exposed to this Bhakti-vriksha group, they feel, because again, it's a forum which is, giving them an opportunity to open up, to come and express. So that's a very, very important avenue for a Western mind also, because people generally call us for a gathering. Say, for example, if a person is calling us to attend a gathering, a program, it's because they want to speak to us, not because they're inviting to hear us. But Bhakti-vriksha is such a forum where we are inviting people because we want to listen to them. And they can vent out what they have. And when they are clear of their thoughts, they are ready to accept what we have to say. So this way, the system is so beautifully designed that a new mind, be it a Westerner or an Indian, non-Indian or an Indian, we found that this, is a common ground, that this program allows one to express themselves, and it allows a person to really blossom, because it brings out the best in that person.
Wonderful. So the next question is, what are the scopes for a devotee who has completed Bhakti-vriksha? What next?
Well, in one sense, we think we never complete Bhakti-vriksha.
There's no graduation ceremony, so to speak.
However, when they have matured in their devotional service, then they are encouraged to take up leadership positions and serve others as leaders and facilitate and make more devotees. Whatever they have received in Bhakti-vriksha, to share it and move forward. So they become a part of coordinating the Bhakti-vriksha system. So in that sense, they never stop learning, only the roles change. First they were learning as members, now they learn as servant leaders, and in that way it's there. However, they do branch out to other services. They take up services at the temple, or sometimes on behalf of the entire Bhakti-vriksha structure. They take different kinds of services of organizing different kinds of festivals, of becoming circle servants and things like that. So in that sense, because of the structure of Bhakti-vriksha and the support structure that it provides, they can just keep growing and growing and growing in spiritually as well as mentally in expanding their services.
So what is the most advantageous aspect of Bhakti-vriksha in your opinion?
Well, as we said before, that it really brings out the best in a person. New people, Bhakti-vriksha, I think our personal opinion is that it is a win-win program for everybody. It is a win-win situation for the temple. It is a win-win situation to really hook on conditioned souls who are suffering in this material ocean. It's an excellent tool to really pull out the conditioned souls, because it's a very, very attractive program. And it's not that it's one just like a monotonous program where we are doing just kirtan, lecture and prasad. But there is so much variety in the program itself. And there is a future plan for every member, which when the member is 3 months in the group, when a new member is 3 months in the group, they understand what is the vision of the program, that each member has a individual growing pattern. And they can recognize that and they appreciate that, because they know that we have a plan for them, for their growth, for their spiritual growth, that they can really mature into becoming the servant of the devotees, that they can mature and they can become servant leaders, they can become sector servant leaders, they can become circle servant leaders, and one day become program directors too. So this way they have gradual growth amongst themselves, and that I think is a very, very advantageous thing that the system in itself is offering. And which is very, very attractive for any person, because everybody is tuned into, as Prabhu always loves to say this, he says that everybody is tuned into one frequency, which is WIIFM, which is what's in it for me. Everyone is tuned into that frequency, and Bhakti-vriksha really has an answer to that. They are able to understand that yes, this is what Bhakti-vriksha has for me. Bhakti-vriksha is a program that I can relate to and I can manage on my own too. I don't have to be a Sanskrit Pandit. I don't have to be, knowing all the verses of the Bhagavad Gita, but I can still manage being a servant leader. So it's a doable process, it's a repeatable process, which is very, very important. It's very easily replicable. So that's something which I think the system in itself is offering, and it's of great value in that sense.
Amazing. So the next question is, how expensive is Bhakti-vriksha program?
Well, not expensive at all, because Bhakti-vriksha is not a one-man program or a one-couple program, if you want to say. it's shared by everyone, all the members of the group. Bhakti-vriksha is successful when every member of the group thinks that this is my program. It's not like I am going to this person's program. No, I'm going to my program. And everyone feels that they can contribute something to this, to their program, like that, to our program. And so everyone, the most important aspect is prasadam, especially where the expenses are involved. And the prasadam is potluck. It's shared between devotees who are following the principles, and of course with devotees who are new, they bring water or cut fruits or something like that. In that way, everyone is contributing something. In terms of outreach, in terms of organizing festivals, everyone kind of contributes, comes together, and everyone's goal is that how we can reach out to more and more people. And so in this way, we don't even feel the pinch of any substantial amount or burden, financial burden on an individual family or something like that. And we never have to go on a campaign for donations or things like that, because people think this is our program.
So please tell me, how is the mood of a devotee towards the temple services who has undergone or undertaken Bhakti-vriksha?
Well, you see, the temple, the model that we are doing in Houston, the temple is at the root of the Bhakti-vriksha program. So the members from the very first day are encouraged to engage in temple activities. And we stress the importance of service. So what we have done is, in Houston, there is a very nice Sunday feast program where we have around 500 members who come every Sunday, and the Bhakti-vriksha groups, the 14 Bhakti-vriksha groups, are on a rotation basis. They help in serving the Sunday feast, prasadam. So their service will start from 6:30 in the evening, where they transfer all the prasadam and they set up the serving stations, they set up the sitting areas, and then they serve. The entire group serves. So when this was first time rolled out in the non-Indian Bhakti-vriksha program, the members were so excited. They were excited to this extent that they actually made t-shirts. One of the members made t-shirts with the name Simple Living High Thinking, because that's the name of the non-Indian Bhakti-vriksha group. And they said that everybody had, a t-shirt that they were wearing saying Simple Living High Thinking ISKCON Houston. And they had a picture of Radha Neela Madhava, who are our presiding deities in Houston. And one of the members sponsored the entire thing, and they did it. They made the print for everybody, and everyone wearing a nice smile on their face, and they were greeting everybody by saying Hare Krishna, giving out a spoon of prasadam. And everyone was so impressed, they were so re-enlivened by rendering this service, that it became like a culture, and rendering service in the temple became such a fun, festive thing. Because again, it is up to the leader how they project the service to be. If the leader says, today we have to go and do this service, it is a burden. If that is the mood, then that's the mood that the members also carry. But then if the leader is enthusiastic, today is our group's turn to serve, prasadam, we can serve the devotees in this way. So then that enthusiasm trickles down to the members, and they're very, very active in rendering service in this way. And they serve not only during Sunday feast, but they come forward to serve during the outreach festivals. They serve during the general festivals like Janmashtami, Gaur Purnima, doing all kinds of volunteer services, starting from decorating the temple, cutting vegetables, everything, including the Westerners. They are very, very inspired.
Oh, that's amazing to know. That's what we generally need. All right. Are there any limitations in terms of gender or age or material qualification or the social status of the member of Bhakti-vriksha? I mean, who can join a Bhakti-vriksha?
Well, anyone can join Bhakti-vriksha. There is no pre-qualification required, because in Bhakti-vriksha the language is the language of love, which everyone relates to, of love and care, and especially related to Krishna. It's Krishna's love and care, and the soul is hankering for that. So there is no distinction. Our philosophy is we are not this body, we are the soul, and since this is a spiritual program, it's catered towards feeding the soul, feeding the mind, and feeding the body. So in that sense, there is no pre-qualification. We even have children who are, when they're about 13 to 14 years of age, or even about 12, they start participating in the adult Bhakti-vriksha program along with the other members, and they actually start discussing philosophy and things like that. Below 12 years, they have a separate program. We have a simultaneous children program that's going on, but many of them, the children lead the kirtan. The initial kirtan is sometimes led by the children, and so it encourages everyone. So all age groups are taken care of. So when they become youth, then even the youth members, they come and they lead kirtans, they serve prasadam, they cook prasadam, and they interact with the adult members. There is a generation gap, but still Krishna conscious philosophy appeals to everyone. And then we also have some youth groups that are going on, youth Bhakti-vriksha groups. Then there is no distinction between whether someone is an American or an African American or an Indian American or anyone, or a Spanish. Anyone is, when they find people who they can relate to, who are of the like-minded devotees, like-minded people, then they are attracted to each other.
How effective are the Siksha levels, and what are the benefits?
Well, in Houston and in the United States, so that people can relate to the Shiksha program, we have given a prefix to this name. We call it the Path to Perfection Shiksha program, so that even a non-Indian can easily relate to this program. And we find, in our 14 years that we've been in Houston, our experience has been that it really helps the members advance rapidly. Their advancement is very, very rapid, because, otherwise to ask a person, as Prabhu very aptly puts it, he says that asking a person about how many rounds you're chanting, it's like asking somebody what's their salary. It's very offensive sometimes, because they feel that it is something, it's a personal thing, and it's something that they are doing with Krishna, so, who are you to ask me about it? But when we say that, there's this program which wants to honor how many rounds the devotees are chanting, based on the level, then, people are naturally inclined to share. So it becomes very natural, and in Houston we have this Shiksha program, the Path to Perfection Shiksha program, every 3 months. And what we've seen is that it also helps, like the levels that we were talking about, the trainings on every level. The training is also based on the Shiksha levels that they have. So 4-rounders, they are explained, simple things like how to establish an altar at home. 8-rounders are explained in the Bhakti 101 sessions. They are explained on how to offer bhoga at home, how to wear tilak, why to wear tilak, how to wear devotional clothes. And then in 8-rounders, we also do a Bhakti 101 session that, to inspire them to chant 16 rounds, we do a session called the Magic of 16 Rounds. So what is the magic of 16 rounds, and how it can be done so easily. If you're doing 8 rounds, it's so easy to chant 16 rounds. So this way we found that having the Shiksha program in place in any yatra will be so beneficial, because you will be able to monitor each and every devotee based on the level that they are in the Path to Perfection ladder. It's very easy to monitor them, it's easy to give them services based on their levels, it's easy to relate to them, talk to them based on their levels of their chanting.
What is your opinion about the structure of Bhakti-vriksha in terms of hierarchy?
Well, the hierarchy of this Bhakti-vriksha system is something which Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur emphasized himself. And he actually coined the terms as Upachakrapati, Chakrapati, which means Upachakra means a sector servant, Chakrapati is the circle servant, and then Mahachakra and Mala, which is 108 groups. And then he had terms like Plavan, which means flood, and these kind of things, which is 108 malas, which means he had groups of 108 times 108 groups at this level. And this structure is the support system for growth of Bhakti-vriksha. It's a framework which allows the Bhakti-vriksha to grow. Otherwise, we find that sometimes if the structure is not there, then if there's a flat structure, you may have 5 or 6 groups which are flat in structure, and then it just becomes, those groups don't ever expand, they just remain there, and they become the personal domains of the group leader. And the members are eternally the members, and the leader is eternally the leader, and some leave, some come, and there's no long-term vision. I remember when we came, after when we had about 4 groups, we were very excited. It was in the beginning of our Bhakti-vriksha implementation, and we came and we told Jayapataka Maharaj that we have 4 groups now, and we are in the process of making the 5th group and expanding into the 5th group. And he said, "So what is the structure?" He said, "Well, we just have 4 groups. What structure will we have in 4 groups? Typically a sector consists of 3 to 4 groups, so everyone is under one sector now. And when we have 7, 8, 10 groups, then we'll put in the structure." So he said something which was very, very visionary, and which has helped us specifically in the Houston Yatra. He said that try to implement the structure as early as possible. And so he said, if you have 4 groups, make it into 2 sectors and have sector servants for each of the groups. The reason being, it'll become increasingly difficult to put in the structure as the number of groups grow, because people become used to a particular structure, a particular way of doing things, a flat structure, and then if you say, by the way, after 5 years now we want to implement a structure, people are resistant. Devotees don't want to really follow something which they have been following. So that was very, very useful, and this structure has helped tremendously, because as we had sector servants in 2 groups in each sector, now the sector servant was able to focus on those 2 groups, and it freed us from the responsibility of individually taking care of all the 4 groups. We were able to take the whole structure forward, and then those 2 groups immediately became into 5 groups because of implementing the structure, and then to 10, and then like that. So, and then now of course we have 14 groups. But the structure has definitely helped us in expanding at the pace that we were able to.
And for the viewers to know, Prabhu and Mataji, they are serving as Bhakti-vriksha directors from the top level. So how effective is Bhakti-vriksha in expansion and multiplication?
Well, in our experience we have found that if we don't multiply the group, typically when we have 15 regular members, it's time to multiply a group into 2 groups, so that the members don't feel lost, because sometimes if groups are 30, 40, 50 members, then slowly the individual members, they start feeling neglected, they start feeling lost, and that small group feeling goes away. So in Bhakti-vriksha, as soon as there are 15 to 20 regular members, we multiply into 2 groups, and what we have found is, if we don't multiply, every group has an expiry date. The date that it starts, the expiry is stamped on it, which in different places may be different. Some places 6 months, some places 1 year, some 1.5 years. But if we don't identify the expiry date of the group and continue the group beyond the expiry date without multiplying it, we see that the members, the old members or the senior members of the group, they lose interest because they don't see anything new for them. As we said, everyone is tuned into the WIIFM channel, what's in it for me. They don't find anything and they leave the group. They stop coming to the group. They feel I can get that from maybe some other place or something like that. And then if the leader still continues, he'll have a completely new group. So in a sense, the old group has expired actually. But if the leader identifies the expiry date and before that multiplies, now if you have 15 members, you have 7 and 8, or 20 members, you have 10 in each group. Now you have potential to expand those 10 into 20 each. So 20 becomes then 40, and you are at the same time engaging the senior members of the group in their growth as well as the growth of the group. And then you take a senior mentor position to guide the rest of the people. So this multiplication is intrinsic to Bhakti-vriksha. If a Bhakti-vriksha group does not multiply, it may have started as a Bhakti-vriksha group, but it no longer remains a Bhakti-vriksha group.
Very well explained, Prabhuji. How effective is Bhakti-vriksha in bringing out a preacher from a devotee?
That's a very interesting question because, I remember one time Srila Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj saying that Bhakti-vriksha system is such a beautiful system that preaching is actually inculcated from the very beginning. And preaching is something that is actually part of our sadhana. It's like a 5th regulative principle. And when the devotee is engaged from the very beginning in sharing Krishna consciousness, which is actually part of the Bhakti-vriksha program, which is the 5th part of the Bhakti-vriksha program, which is preaching is the essence. So from the very beginning, the devotee, the new member, is trained that if he knows 1%, if he shares that 1%, then he will grow in his Krishna consciousness. His Krishna consciousness will become more stronger. It will become 2%. It will multiply. So preaching is a sure shot way of making rapid advancement. And so from the very beginning, the member is trained to go out and at least share with a friend that, hey, I'm going to this program, I really like this gathering, why don't you join me? Just say that to a friend, that is sharing. And we have actually developed 32 edifications, which is like a beginner's edification. And these 32 edifications are designed in such a way that they talk about the basics of Krishna consciousness. And the first 10 or 11 edifications don't even talk about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But it's all very generic topics like meditation, harmonizing the body, mind and soul through meditation. What are the real problems of life? What are the 3 modes of nature, moods and modes? And then the, free will, karma, destiny. So all these things, they are like the simple equations of 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So it is very universal, and it does not, we found that even Indians, especially in the US, and even definitely the non-Indians, very easily relate to this flow of edifications. which are like the beginning ones, and from the fifth edification onwards, we have included something called as the sharing assignments, which we give out to the members when we do the preaching is the essence session. And it's as simple as just share the holy name or share about this gathering to your friend and bring a friend to the group. So sometimes, when we did this sharing assignment in the non-Indian Bhakti-vriksha program, one of the members, when we had the preaching report the next week, the following week, everyone shared their experience of what they shared. Then one of the members said that, well, he is a very shy person. So he said that I put a post on my Facebook account saying that I go to this gathering and, I really like it, this is what we discuss, and I got around 35 likes. So does that count that I did my assignment? And we said, yes, of course it counts. And, definitely, and one other time we did this assignment saying that cook something, offer it to Krishna, and go and distribute it to one of your friends. So that way they are distributing prasadam. And the next week when we had the preaching report, one of the members, he's an Afro-American boy, he's around 25-year-old, and he came back and said that, well, I go to school, he goes to college still, and he doesn't do much cooking. So he said, but I brought a friend of mine to the temple to take prasadam, to take lunch. So does that count, that I did my assignment? And we said, yes, of course it counts. So in this way, preaching is actually inculcated from the very beginning of their Krishna consciousness, and they know the importance of preaching, which is also very helpful in the multiplication stage. Because when the group is ready to multiply, some members, there are lots of challenges in multiplication because the members develop such close bonds, they don't want to multiply and separate, so to speak. But when the importance of preaching is stressed from the very beginning, they will want to multiply for a higher purpose. That they will know that they'll still be united in service, but they are helping in expansion. They are helping in the growth of Srila Prabhupada's movement. So in this way, preaching is definitely inculcated from the very beginning, very, very important, and it goes a long way in the multiplication.
Thank you so much. So I would now like to switch over to some personal questions. Please tell me, what was the biggest personal challenge for you to take leadership in Bhakti-vriksha?
Well, in taking up the leadership role was not much of a challenge, and I see that those who come up in Bhakti-vriksha, they are actually very eager to share their Krishna consciousness with others. And so they don't see it as a leadership role, they just see it as a service that they can perform to share with others, and it just becomes a natural thing, a spontaneous thing. To share, you have to take some responsibility, and they come up as responsible leaders. Also, there is, in the Bhakti-vriksha system, there are certain roles that everyone plays. There is the facilitator role, there is host, there is prasadam coordinator, there is the children coordinator, the picnic planner, and there are all these the celebrations coordinator, services coordinator. There are these 10 roles that every Bhakti-vriksha group has, which we have identified. And what we do is, every 3 months, we rotate these roles. During the group, we ask them to volunteer for certain roles, and then every 3 months we again revisit those roles, what were the challenges in accomplishing these roles, and then we rotate them. So by the end of the group cycle, when it's about to multiply, when we tell someone, would you like to become a servant leader for the next multiplication of the group, they are very eager to take it, because they understand what it exactly means to be a leader, because they've gone through all the roles, as opposed to a situation where we have not given them responsibility during the group cycle. Then if one fine day we say, would you like to be a leader? They automatically say no. But when they say no, they don't mean that they don't want to be a leader. They mean they don't know what it means to be a leader, because they don't know what they're getting into. So in the Bhakti-vriksha system itself, it's designed that everyone is, by the end of the group cycle, they automatically emerge as leader. They have the desire to preach and share their Krishna consciousness, and it becomes a natural thing.
Great. Next question is, how your involvement affected your family and what was their reaction?
Well, for me, my parents, I'm the only child to my parents, and because of them, they are my Shiksha Gurus. So for me, it was not at all a challenge. It was basically a nourishment, rather. I had so much support from them, and whatever we are doing today is by the guidance that we receive from them and their blessings. So family for both of us was not really challenging, and we did have their support, from the very beginning of our days in Krishna consciousness in that way.
How do you find the time? What did you have to sacrifice?
Well, to be frank, it's been so much fun. Implementing Bhakti-vriksha, interacting with the members in a Bhakti-vriksha way, and it's a discussion. Even after so many years of being in Krishna consciousness, sometimes I take the role of a facilitator, but I learn a lot from the new members. So it has been a learning process, and it's been such a fun that we haven't really felt, if at all, if we did any sacrifice. It was not like, oh, I'm doing an austerity and sacrifice. I want to do something else, but I rather let me do Bhakti-vriksha. It was just so much fun, more fun than all the other things that we've been doing, that we never felt any sacrifice in this.
And for us, it's like a way of life. For us, it's like how Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada says, Prana Cheja Rathayev Prachar, means if you have life, you should preach. So without the Bhakti-vriksha, I think we would be lifeless. So there would be no life remaining. This is what gives the spice in our life, is this Bhakti-vriksha program.
I would recommend everyone to have these spices and flavor up their lives. Amazing. What is one biggest personal realization you have gained doing this service?
Well, for me personally, I would say that it's been so amazing to witness the advancement, especially of the non-Indians, because we had seen that Bhakti-vriksha is very famous or very successful with Indians, and it would not work. Many times we've heard the criticism coming up that Bhakti-vriksha cannot work with non-Indians. It's not meant for non-Indians. It can work with Russians, it can work with many others, but with Westerners in the USA, maybe it will not be working. So, but we had this faith always that, Prabhu and myself, we used to pray to Sri Sri Radha Madhava every year that we would visit Mayapur, and we'd beg for special blessings from both our Guru Maharajas to be able to preach and make a difference and to prove that Bhakti-vriksha is a universal program. It's not for any particular sect only, that it can be applicable to everybody in this world. Anybody in the human form of life can relate to this program of Bhakti-vriksha, because Bhakti-vriksha is based on the principle of love, trust and care. And I think that is a universal language. It breaks through every barrier, it breaks through every bond. So with that faith, we had the faith that it will work with Westerners. And by our Guru Maharaj's mercy, we were able to see the miracle when we implemented the first non-Indian program in the year 2011. And it happened after Srila Radhanath Swami Guru Maharaj visited Houston. He had visited us for a Journey Home book tour, and at that time we had organized several yoga programs and different yoga studios, and we had taken down the contacts that during Guru Maharaj's visit we had taken down their contacts. And after he left, I remember he told both of us, Srila Radhanath Swami Guru Maharaj said that, as just like in the battlefield, how the commander-in-chief, they go and they break strong barriers, they break the wall. But if the soldiers don't follow the commander-in-chief and go inside the broken barrier, the wall will come back up again. So Guru Maharaj told us that now I have done the job of breaking the barriers, of going into the yoga studios and preaching to them, going and breaking that barrier. But if we don't follow up with that, then it would be really impossible. The barrier will come back up again. So then that was a huge opportunity that we had, and by both their blessings, by both our Guru Maharaj's blessings, we followed up with those contacts. And then we started the first Bhakti-vriksha program with non-Indians in the year 2011. And the miracle that we witnessed is that within 7 months of its launch, the program was so much expanding that we had to, within 7 months, multiply the group. And it multiplied into a Spanish group, a Spanish-speaking group. And today, right now, that group has multiplied 4 times. We've got 4 times multiplication in that group, and it is, hopefully by Guru Maharaj's mercy, it will go on increasing. So we have the living proof that Bhakti-vriksha is a universal program, and it does appeal to non-Indians and everybody alike.
Amazing. That is the answer I wanted. I'm going to delete that. Please share at least one story, an anecdote of a real transformation that happened in one of your Bhakti-vriksha members.
So there was one person who came very new, and this girl was coming into the Bhakti-vriksha program, and her boyfriend was neutral about Krishna consciousness. He would not stop her from coming to the program, but he would not come himself. And then one day we actually went on a picnic, some outing together, and that's where he came. And so we developed some relationship, and after that he came to one of the programs. And he really liked the discussion, he really liked how open-minded everyone was, especially from the Western point of view. He didn't feel that people were just close-minded and judgmental and things like that, and it was not black and white, things were. And so when he came and attended the group, he liked the atmosphere of the group. He built some relationship with other members. Then he started coming once a month, and his frequency started increasing twice a month, and now he's a regular member of the group. He recommends others to come and join also. So that was very fulfilling to see how someone is able to take up to Krishna consciousness, and now they're practicing chanting together and things like that. There was another person. He was a young guy from the university, and he came to our Western Bhakti-vriksha program. He really liked it. He came for once, twice, and I think 3 weeks he came. And after that he kind of stopped. And then we continued to follow up with him. Sometimes he would respond to our follow-up, sometimes not. But we were in continuous touch with him. And then, after we developed some relationship, I asked him, what is the real thing that you're having? And me and one more of our servant leaders, we asked him. So he revealed that he feels that if he takes, that this Krishna consciousness is so interesting, and that if he starts practicing it, he will lose his material studies. He will lose focus of his material studies. And that was a misconception that he had. And so we personally talked to him, told him this is not the case. We are also working outside, and we don't. In fact, Krishna consciousness, practicing Krishna consciousness will help you in your studies, will help you in becoming more focused, getting away from the distractions. And we gave several examples. We introduced him to other congregation members, other Bhakti-vriksha devotees who were also in a similar situation. And then he started coming to the programs once more. So this personal connection, personal touch makes a huge difference. Then one time we had a birthday celebration, and his birthday came that month. We cut a birthday cake, and he was really touched. So all these small things in the system, not just one thing, it actually transforms a person's life and makes them more attracted to Krishna and his devotees.
I'd like to share one more. These were two examples from the non-Indian group. I'd like to share one from the Indian group, that this was a miraculous transformation, because there was one particular lady. She started coming with her husband to the program, but she came 2 weeks. And then the third week, she just took me into confidence, and she said that, I feel like a hypocrite when I come to this program. I said, why? And she said that, well, because, I am a staunch devotee of Lord Shiva, and I was also initiated, in the Shiva Sampradaya, and, I don't feel like, accepting Krishna conscious philosophy. And I know that you're talking about the Bhagavad Gita, but I can't give up what the practices that I've been doing as a child. And I heard very attentively from her, and I told her that, I really respect that you are, feeling like this, and I'm really thankful that you told me this, but all I'm requesting is that don't come to this program thinking that you're coming to a program. Come to this program thinking that I'm your sister, you're coming to your sister's house. Can you do that? Don't worry about the philosophy at all. Just come because you're coming to your sister's house. And as soon as I said that, she was so affected. She said, okay, I will never stop coming. Even though I don't agree with the philosophy, I will not stop coming. And she kept coming. And this was back in 2002 when we had initially started. And she was a member from that initial Bhakti-vriksha group. And she kept coming for 2 years. Spontaneously, she kept coming, and we developed such close relationships, such close bond as friends, that today she, is an initiated disciple, initiated devotee of ISKCON. She's actually a disciple of Srila Radhanath Swami Guru Maharaj, and her husband is also an initiated devotee, and they are now managing 2 Bhakti-vriksha groups. They are servant leaders. So this is a transformation also, that this is a miracle, who a person was not even interested in the philosophy, but because of the love that is there in the group, she kept coming, and this is the result, that, she was initiated in 2011, and it's a transformation there, right there. It's a miracle right there.
Perfect examples. Amazing. Please give some examples of material or spiritual help which your group members derived from Bhakti-vriksha groups.
You see, as Prabhu had said before, that we have these 10 roles in the Bhakti-vriksha group, and every member is assigned a particular role. So in these roles, we also have one of the roles is a devotee care group. So members in this group, they actually mobilize the entire group if one of the members is in need of any kind of personal help, in terms of if they are sick, or if they are moving, or any kind of difficulty they may be having whatsoever. So recently one of our devotees, the Prabhu fell very, very sick, and he was undergoing, very difficult situation, and especially in the US, you don't have any family, you're really dependent on your friends to help out. So this devotee care group, they mobilized the entire group in such a way that every day of the week, there was one member who was going and visiting this sick devotee and giving them prasadam, helping them, even taking them to the doctor, because the Prabhu was sick and the mataji didn't know how to drive. So the devotees were helping in this way, and those members, they were new members, but how the group mobilized in this way and helped even a new member really affected them so much, and their contribution to the group and their I should say chastity to the group really improved so much, and they became, like permanent members of the group now and dedicated members of the group. So this little help in this way goes a long way. Sometimes mothers who deliver new babies, when they have little babies, the other matajis in the group, how they go and help that particular mataji in taking care of the baby, because they have their family back in India, and over there we kind of take care of each other. So these things go a long way in affecting that particular family and making them to easily take up Krishna consciousness, because they know that Krishna consciousness not just takes care of the soul, but it also takes care of this body, which is the vessel through which we offer our devotion to Krishna. So that is the beauty of this Bhakti-vriksha system, that every member, is in connection with every other member, and in times of need, they become the real friends.
Amazing. So the whole journey that we have had with you was simply astounding. It was mesmerizing, magical. I am sure everyone is going to get great amount of learning and benefit from your interview. Congratulations to both of you, and thank you so very much that you have been very kind to us, and you have been here, and it's really very hard to depart, but so this is the time frame that we have to follow. Thank you very much again, and please pray for all of us that we become successful preachers like you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We thank you for allowing us this opportunity to come and be of some service in sharing our minute experience, and if it will be of any help to anyone, to inspire anyone to take up this process, because Bhakti-vriksha is definitely a wonderful process for our own engagement and in bringing people to Krishna consciousness, engaging souls in Krishna consciousness. So it's we are really thankful to you for allowing us this service. Thank you. Hare Krishna.